I will encourage, this poll is going to run for about 2 minutes, and I will encourage you to make sure you answer it as quickly as you can. It's a yes or no question. As a matter of fact, each poll is going to run for 1 minute. Okay? All right. So the first poll asks a simple question. Is this a true statement? I have always believed that networks are important. And just be honest. Be honest. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. I have always believed that networks are important. 40 more seconds, I will move to the next question. It's a yes or no question. I have always believed that networks are important. 30 more seconds for those of you who are dealing with slow networks. I have always believed that networks are important. All right, good. We're at 92%. We have 3 more people that need to vote, and we should be golden. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, and 1. And I'll end that poll there. Let me share the results with you. Look at that. 89% or 90% of us believe that networks are important. I have always believed that networks are important. Now, think about that for a second. I have often believed that networks are important. So now let's ask ourselves another question. Remember, 89% said they believe networks are important. Now let's ask ourselves this next question. How many of us can say I have been very intentional about enhancing the quality of my network? "45 more seconds. I have been very intentional about improving the quality of my networks. We're at 70%. I'll give this a few more seconds. "85%. We'll have a few more to vote. I'll give you about 18 more seconds. "10 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now look at that. Let me share this result with you. Isn't this interesting? So 89% of us believe that networks are important, but about 46% or 50%, about half of us are not intentional about the building or the improving of the quality of our networks. I mean, that is lopsided. Only about half of the group that said, I believe that networks are important, are actually being very intentional about building the network. Now, it's like somebody sitting down to say, think about it this way. It's like someone sitting down to say, you know, I believe breathing is important. Why? Because if I don't breathe, I'm gonna die. So, but today, I'm so tired. I had a very long day. So, breathing, we'll see in the morning. Do you have an idea of how that is gonna go down? Chances are that whoever it is that makes that decision is not going to be alive by the time the morning comes around, because it doesn't work that way. Even your body knows I've got to keep breathing in order for me to stay alive, right? Because breathing is an essential part. If it is important, then I have to do it. So irrespective of one's interest, you know, or what your mindset is when it comes to networks, be it you're one of those people who are all about growing your influence on social media, or you're one of those who want to expand business or career opportunities, or you're one of those who are connecting to others, to other people for, you know, your personal goals, or you want to enhance your computer hardware and software experience, or you just want to be able to make a better phone call without MTN and Airtel and Verizon and whoever it is that you're using dropping your connectivity. Okay. I know we're all working from home. Please mute your lines. Thank you. All right. So irrespective of what your aspirations are, at the end of the day, you just want a better network. At least we all can attest to the significant role that networks play in our everyday life. So the question then arises, if networks are so critical to our daily successes, why then do we not approach nurturing or building them with intentionality or with precision? If networks shape our happiness and sense of accomplishment, then why have we not done everything in our power to shape the expected outcomes? Very simple. There are two reasons why we don't do that. Reason number one is that we think, I'm very particular, if you're writing this down, underline the word think. We think networks or networking is something that is outside of our control. For instance, a phone company determines the network that I have, but we forget that we have something even more powerful called a choice. That choice means I can drop that phone company and use somebody else. If Verizon is not offering me good network connectivity at my home, I can drop them and use Sprint. If Sprint doesn't give me, I'll drop it and use T-Mobile. If T-Mobile cannot do it, I would consider using Cricket. If Cricket doesn't work, I'll use MTN. I'll use whoever in the world makes sense for me because I have specific goals that I am trying to achieve. The second thing is that we do not think again much about it, meaning like most of the things that drive success, we don't understand the significance, and so we really do not care. But if we think that networks or networking matters, then we must of necessity approach it like breathing and everything else that we need to do. It means that we must develop a cognitive point of view, a mindset, a consistent way of thinking that puts networks front and center. It means that every time I come in contact with people, networking must be the lenses in which I look at that relationship. If you start thinking that way, you will not walk by any person without trying to connect with them because you don't understand where they will show up in your life when you need them. The problem is that many of us are so caught up in our own world that we miss out completely. Let me give you a simple example. We have a platform on WhatsApp and Facebook that we call Private Transformation Network Hub, the Private Transformation Hub, right? We have folks from different places, but mostly in Nigeria. We have a hub for Nigeria. And I watch, and most times I see people come to me to say, hey, I have a question on this, or I don't know what to do with this, I'm trying to accomplish this. And in my head, I'm like, post that conversation in the hub. Why? Because I know people in that same network who can solve your problem without you talking to me. But many of us do not even know the value of the network that we have, that we only think so myopically in our thought processes. We're so siloed and narrow-minded in our thinking capabilities that we forget that there is a whole slew of people that are out there that can give us access to things that we only dream about. What are you doing to leverage your network? Do you even know the value of your network, or is it just something you do because, well, you know, I was just walking down the street the other day and Mike told me, hey, there's this networking event, and so since, you know, there's coronavirus in town, we have nowhere to go, so let's go and network for 5 minutes and come back. No, that is not what it's about. The purpose of networking is supposed to give you relevance, relationships, and revenue. whatever that means. Revenue does not necessarily mean money. It simply infers to whatever it is that draws you closer to the goals that you're trying to accomplish and enables you to become more successful or grow with regards to your goals. I'm going to share one more information with you before we get into, as we talk about the mindset, because the mindset is so critical and many of us do not understand this. Now, after decades, and I'm not talking about, someone who went and researched something for 5 years and then came back with some exciting answer. I mean, after 5 years, after 5 years, not after 5 years, I mean, after decades of studying the mind, one of the world's most renowned and leading Stanford University psychologist, Dr. Carol Dweck, said something really interesting based on her groundbreaking discovery of the power of the mindset. In her work and studies and discoveries, she concluded that success in any area of life, business, work, career, school, or whatever it is that gives you significance or whatever you're trying to gain influence in, has a lot to do with your mindset. The mindset significantly, in her own words, drastically influences how we think about our own talents and ability. That means my own mindset is now telling me what I can and cannot do. I mean, do you know how much potential you all have? We're talking about how unlimited potential you have as an individual. Your mind, this 3-pound brain that you have, this human body with over 3 trillion cells, can do anything that you set your mind to do or you set your heart to do. But our mindset has told you you cannot do certain things, and so it begins to check off your talents and abilities as to what you can and cannot do, even though you have the means to do it. Have you ever found yourself in a rough spot, like in a difficult situation? Maybe you're being chased by a rabid dog or something, or you're being, I'm trying to come up with crazy stuff, or you're sitting somewhere and you came across something that frightens you, or you find yourself in a difficult situation and you take off. I mean, you take off so fast that you will run half a mile and not even stop to breathe because you didn't realize that. But if you had tried running, if you woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to go jogging today, you just go 2 blocks and you're already tired. But when panic sets in, your true talent and abilities manifested themselves due to the rush of adrenaline, and you are still able to do the things that you are naturally able to do. Why? Because the situation of fright or flight or fight basically took over. You will find out that you have inner strength that you can deliver. But what happens is that our mindsets have now become a scale or a shutter that determines what you can or cannot do. Even though you have the ability to operate up here, because your experiences in the past have kept you down here, your mindset is now set here. So all you do is operate here with that belief. Now, interestingly, in her work and in her book, if you're interested in getting the book, I'll encourage you to get it. It's an awesome read. It's called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. You can find it on Amazon and any of these audiobooks. She proved that there are 2 types of mindsets. 2 types of mindsets. And they are the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. So let's look at these definitions. Individuals, and I'll sum this up real quick. Individuals with a fixed mindset believe their qualities are fixed traits and therefore cannot change. They believe that who they are is fixed and therefore they cannot change. They believe that their life expectations and experiences cannot change. Such people have gone through the process of documenting their intelligence and talents and abilities and everything else, rather than trying to improve and develop themselves for the next level. They just keep going day to day. This is where we are. This is who we are. My father never went to college. Nobody graduated college from my family. And so this is it. No wonder my kids cannot make it through college. Why? Because experience has shown us that this is what we've had from the past. And our mindset has now been conditioned to believe that that's what our future can give us. They also believe that talent alone leads to success. And so the level of their talent now determines the measure of the success that they desire. And therefore, they are unwilling to put any effort whatsoever. The fixed mindset. Folks with fixed mindsets never grow beyond a specific level in life. But on the alternate side, there are those with a growth mindset. The growth mindset has an underlying belief that I can do anything that I set my mind to do if I am willing to learn, if I'm willing to gain the intelligence, if I'm willing to invest the time and gain the experiences relevant for me to be successful in that space. The growth mindset believes that he or she can become smarter, can become better, and more proficient at something. They realize that immediately, and once that realization comes, the very next thing they want to do is to put in efforts to change their success outcomes. And therefore, such individuals are willing to put in the extra time and energy towards developing and transforming themselves in order to achieve higher results. So for a moment here, let's think about this. Do you believe you have a growth mindset, or have you been one of those who are just hanging around with a fixed mindset, but you're telling yourself that you have a growth mindset? I mean, this is such an important question that a lot of us do not even think about it. So individuals who have a fixed mindset, what they do is that they avoid challenges. They give up on obstacles. They don't even try. Once they try a few times, it doesn't work. They're like, yep, that's it. When it comes to putting in any efforts, they just think that this is fruitless. There's no point even trying. Once you ignore them, they are cynical about it. They think every criticism is a personal thing. Once you give them constructive criticism, they take it so personal. It's all about me. I am not good enough. Or they get into defensive mode rather than learning from it. The success of others threaten them because they somehow believe that, that person is always better than me. But if you've changed, these are all attributes that define a way of thinking. But individuals with a growth mindset see challenges, they embrace challenges as an opportunity for the next level. They see obstacles and they don't shy away from it because they know that I just have to keep being persistent until I get to the other side. They view effort as something that is needed in order to become a master in a specific space. When you give them constructive criticisms or you give them feedback, they embrace it, they learn from it, and they figure out how to do the same thing, but in a different way by adding the information that you provided. They get inspired from the success of others rather than feeling threatened by it. Why? Because when it comes to the question of the mindset is your collection of thoughts, beliefs that have now shaped who you are. They have now shaped your habits. They've now shaped your actions. And these thoughts have become habits that now affect how you think, how you feel, and what you do. I mean, your mindset impacts everything about your purview about the world and how you make sense of not only the world, but also about the role that you play in it. Your mindset determines your network, and ultimately your mindset determines your net worth. What do I mean by that? Haven't you heard that birds of the same feather flock together? If you find yourself hanging around certain types of people, all of a sudden you begin to behave like them because you begin to embrace their habits. You begin to embrace their ways of doing things. Hang around people who say it's never going to be okay. Hang around people who are always pessimistic. You will come to find out that in a very short time, you start talking like them. Why? Because mindset is a product, oftentimes, of your environment, of your experiences, of the things you expose yourself to. We're talking about the culture in which you were raised in, your upbringing. Your father said it. In fact, some of your parents told you you will never amount to anything, and you believe it. It's a mindset. So you never got the education you needed because what's the point of getting an education? After all, I'll never amount to anything. A lot of times it's your temperament because, well, you know, I'm shy. You've told yourself that you're shy, and so all of a sudden you're no longer driven. Sometimes it's fear of rejection, fear of failure. What is the things that are driving those behaviors? And those are things that are so critical for you to learn how to overcome. So I'm going to get into that in a minute. At the end of this call, I'm going to give you about some tips and an assignment that you're going to work on before next week. But before we do that, I want to give you an opportunity to share some of your experiences with some of the folks that are on this call. So what we're going to do at this time is that we're going to break out into rooms. All right? We're going to break out into rooms, and in each of those rooms, we'll try to make the rooms as small as possible so that way you'll be able to share your ideas, and we're going to break out for about 5 minutes each. So once those rooms are broken, you will go into a specific room. You're going to answer one simple question. What is the question you're going to be answering? What are the factors that have prevented me from networking in the past? What are the factors that have prevented me from networking in the past? So here's what you're going to do. We're going to break into 8 rooms. Each room will have about 5 people. And in each of those rooms, you're going to answer this question, and you're going to decide on one person who will capture all of your thoughts and then come back and report all of that in 1 minute. So when we get back into the meeting, when we get back into the room, we'll get back here, each room is going to report and say, okay, these are the things that we identified. And why we're breaking it separately is so that you can see some of the commonalities. They could be from your environment, they could be from all the different things that, you know, many of us have experienced. But at the end of the day, you want to come back with a report, maybe 5, 6 bullet points, whatever it is that each room determines at the end of the day are some of the drivers that have caused them. So I'm creating the room now. In each room, there will be about anywhere from 5 to 6 people. Introduce yourselves, get to know each other if you prefer. But this next session is going to take us about 5 minutes. Each person will have about 30 seconds or thereabout to talk about whatever it is, and then we'll be back. All right? So the rooms have been broken and the rooms are now open. So each of you will receive a link to a room. Go to your rooms and come back in 5 minutes. We'll start it from the top, room number 1. So who is the representative of room number 1? Unmute yourself and speak.
Good evening, sir, and good evening, everyone. This is Hadiza. I'm representing room number 1. And we discussed briefly about the challenges we have with networking, which include motivation, whether it's worth the investment of your time and effort. The biggest one I think that kept coming up is fear.
Sure.
And it's mainly rooted in previous disappointment. People have tried to network and have been disappointed by family, by friends, people they trusted, and it gets more difficult to go out there and do it again when you have been disappointed. And fear of rebuff. So you don't know how people are going to react to you. Some people don't take it very well. They may misunderstand. And sometimes there's conflicting interest. The expectations don't tally. And then some of us, somebody also prefers it to be gradual. And sometimes people just jump into it, and then you are a bit uncomfortable about the pace at which the networking is going. I think I'll leave it at that. Conversation too is difficult. Getting the conversation going and holding the conversation and calling. What are you going to tell the person to keep that relationship growing and going on over time? Thank you.
Good. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Esther. Room number 2. Room number 2. Who's the representative for room number 2? Unmute yourself, please.
I think ours is room number 2. This is Venkat.
Hi, Venkat.
We have 5 points from our room. First point is laziness. That's like we're too lazy to implement our thoughts. The second point is finding the right people that have some benefits from. The third point is hesitant about networking, how to approach the people. Fourth one we had is like we don't plan to have to do the networking, but we prefer that to come naturally. So those are our 4 points.
All right. Thank you, sir. Room number 3.
My name is Victor Oraka. In room number 3, we are 5 persons, but we couldn't hear from the 2 other persons. I don't know if they had network issues. We were able to identify about 5 points, but not in any particular order.
Okay.
One is the fear of rejection. We also identified low self-esteem.
Okay.
We identified the fear of being talked down or put down. And then we talk about those who seem to be introverts. And then they're scared to discuss a particular topic of interest.
All right.
So those were the 5 we discussed.
Thank you, Victor. Room number 4.
So hi, good evening. My name is Fumi. So room number 4, we're 5 of us there, but one person was unable to actually respond. So one of the things that most people responded were, first was basically inferiority complex. Someone mentioned inferiority complex, and they basically based that on background and growing up. That's probably what have caused that. That's what they actually realized, or were able to pick points that caused that. Another person was fear of rejection. Basically, they're always afraid of being rejected, and each time they try to meet up with someone. Another main key thing someone said was status. The person actually said he was actually intimidated by the status of someone. And each time he saw anyone's status up there, he's always so afraid to reach out to the person, and basically he has not been able to achieve much because each time he's always scared. Each time he meets someone, he's always scared of them. So basically upbringing, most of the upbringing, fear of rejection, inferiority complex, and the fear of someone up their status. Basically, that's all we have to say rather. Thank you.
Awesome. Next room.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Obi Nairondo. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very clearly. Go ahead.
Okay, for room number 5, we are 4 persons, but one person did not respond. Quickly, the things we identified as a limitation to networking is 1, not getting the positive or expected response and feedback from the individuals or group of persons we are trying to network with. And secondly, past experiences. yes, the fear of the past experiences we have had, the networks we have had that have come out negatively. So not being sure of what you are going to get out of it. Then also temperament, being an introvert, and waiting for people to make the first move. Then you connecting instead of being the one to make the move. Okay, so these are basically the things we identified as a limitation to networking. So that's all. That's all.
Obina, thank you so much. The next room. I think this should be room number 6 or 7 next.
Hello,
I believe
good
Obina was
evening.
room number 6. Room number 7, go ahead.
My name is Ralph Issa Raphael, and in our group we had 5 people, and here are the points that came up from our discussion. One of the things that came up was introvert. One of us said that he's introverted, and that's really contributed to his inability to effectively network. That's one. Secondly, 2 people said that they had issues staying in touch. That's having established a network to stay in touch was a problem. Another person said that if she feels that the person to whom she's networking with had nothing to offer, or was her word was if the person lacked stuff, childish, she of course will kill that networking immediately. And the final person said that fear of rejection, although she has overcome that because she went into marketing and she learned that no, it's actually something to expect and shouldn't really turn you down. She just learned to accept no's, and now she's doing pretty well. That's
awesome.
That's all we learned. Yeah.
Thanks, Ralph. I appreciate. Oh, by the way, Ralph, happy birthday, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Last room, room number 8.
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Robert Emperor.
Ah.
Okay. In my group, we were supposed to be about 5, but I think 2 persons couldn't connect for maybe network reasons.
Yeah.
We basically pointed about 4 points. One of that was temperament. One of us said she was introverted and doesn't like to talk much, so of course that will lead to conversation and everything that comes with it. Another point was comfort zone. A lot of us are in our comfort zone, so trying to make up a conversation, trigger the convo and all that could be a little uncomfortable, and you just rather be in your comfort zone. Another point that came up was past experience, of course, being maybe rejected or having someone belittle. Then another point was stereotype. Generally, an example that we used was particularly maybe in career, it's all about hierarchy. So that some of us are placed along different levels of an echelon. So if a particular cadre we want to relate to the particular cadre, and to go across board means you want to break protocol. So those kind of stereotypes, either from nurture or environment, all of that would ultimately affect how we go about the networking. That's basically it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert. Okay. So if you listen to everybody's summation of what their challenges are, probably a majority, less than 75% or more, if not close to 100% of what you heard, are based on internal perceptions. I am introverted. I'm afraid of the fear of rejection. I'm afraid of rejection. I've been rejected in the past. It all starts with I. It begins with me, right? So the bottom line is that if we can overcome our own challenges with regards to networking, then we become proficient at it. Oftentimes, it is always the internalized challenges that prevent us from stepping out. So what I want to do here is that I want us to look at a few quick tips that would be able to help you overcome, irrespective of whatever your challenges are. Maybe there were things that were born out of experience, you've been rejected in the past before, or maybe based on the level of exposure that you have, you don't have the level of comfort or confidence, be it the environment that you operate in, because maybe you're not high up in the hierarchy of the organization or your business, or maybe culturally you should not speak out of turn, or maybe it's your level of education, you're not sure how to present yourself because you're in the room with all these Ivy Leaguers or these very experienced leaders, and you don't know how to compose yourself, or you believe you're a shy person, or it is just outright fear, or whatever your reason might be. At the end of the day, it all begins with what you decide you want to do. So let me give you a few tips here that will be able to help you. Let's talk about some quick tips, and I'll give you about 12 of them that I would like you to think about while we prepare ourselves for this next series of assignments that you're going to work on. Here are some quick tips. Number one, focus on people that fit your goals. Focus, when you say you're looking for people to connect with, people who are passionate about the things that you are passionate about do not care if you are wherever you are, because passion overrides personality a lot of times. Focus on persons or individuals that fit your goals. Look for people in that space, be it a mentor, a peer, or protege. They have to be people that align to that. Number two, change what you say to yourself. We have access to different voices, external voices, internal voices, and all the different voices. Especially if you listen to the news today, you won't be short on voices. But at the end of the day, you are going to listen to the most predominant voice in your head, and that is your own voice. Okay, so focus on telling yourself what you ought to believe. Number three, change your language. Be positive. Believe in yourself. Be optimistic in your purview and your outlook. Think positively. Speak positively. Challenge yourself to be more positive. Don't say, oh God, I'm not good enough. No. There's no room for negativity. There's no room for pessimism. Challenge yourself. Never say, it doesn't matter. If you're the first person in your entire generation to have accomplished that, make yourself good. Celebrate your old successes. Speak positively to yourself. Change your thought processes. Change your language, and always be positive. Number four, act with the mindset that you desire. See yourself where you are trying to go and begin to act like that. As a person thinks in their mind, so are they. See yourself in a specific point, in a specific place, and begin to act in that certain way, and you see yourself naturally beginning to walk in that. Consciously learn and apply new knowledge. Spend more time to learn about networking. How do successful people network? Go to platforms, read on information. I gave you an example. I told you go and read Dr. Carol Dweck's book on the mindset. It will give you a new purview with regards to what the psychology of success looks like. Continuously learn, and don't just learn, figure out how to apply that new knowledge. Surround yourself with people that match your desired mindset. Surround yourself with people who think the way you want to think. Go to networking events if you want to go with people that you think will be able to help you live that dream. If your friend is shy and you are shy, both of you are a calamity of shyness. So you're now trying to go to an open, you'll find yourself sitting down together and just, in the corner say, the way this thing is going on, I don't know if we'll fit in here. Look for people who can be able to boost your areas where you think you are deficient. Create new habits to support your desired mindset or new mindset, whatever you want to call it. Look for things that you do that will encourage you to do that and keep it going. Jump out of your comfort zone. Someone mentioned the importance of getting out of your comfort zone. Sometimes take that first step. If you're waiting for networking to happen naturally, most times it will not. If you're waiting for people to come to you, most times they will not. Learn how to take the first step, and with time it becomes a habit, and those habits now become the measures for your success. Go into relationships with a give first mentality. A lot of times people come into relationships or they want to network because they want to get. If you go into a network relationship with a get mentality, most times you'll be disappointed. Go in there thinking, how can I add value to the people in this place? And value attracts value. Value attracts value. So always step into it with a give first mentality. Be deliberate about reconnecting often. Stay in touch with people. Pick up your phone, send them a note, email them. I don't know if anybody checks emails nowadays except at work, but WhatsApp them, call them, send them messages, send them a joke, something that will keep you constantly connected. It's important for you to stay connected if you want to build a thriving network. Leverage network groups such as Eventbrite, Meetup.com, and some of these other platforms, LinkedIn, and other means as possible. But more importantly, not just connecting yourself, but learn also how to connect people. Every significant journey experience I've had in life was as a result of a connection with someone or someone connecting me to someone. All right. So it is not always about you connecting. It is also important for you to learn how to connect other people to platforms and opportunities that you also have. So having said all of that, I have just one more thing that I would like to share with you. Just one more thing, and then we will call it a day. I have a quick question for you. So here's your takeaway assignment, and it is due next week. Here's your quick takeaway assignment, and I think I should just share it so that way I didn't put it in the slide. So here's the question you need to think about. We've shared the 12 tips. So here's your assignment for today. Schedule an hour between now and next Thursday to evaluate your network. I will encourage you to schedule that hour tonight before you go to bed, wherever you are. Schedule an hour to evaluate your network. You're going to be evaluating your network for two things. Number one, you're going to be reviewing the quality of your network. What are your goals for the next 1 to 3 years? Talking about your common interest, what your objectives are. What are your goals for the next 1 to 3 years? Who are the people in your network? And you can do this. You can pick up your phone and just scroll through it, and you can tell the quality of your network. You can tell based on the conversations we've had tonight. Just going through your phone and your Rolodex of contacts, you can tell if a person is adding value to you or not. Are they part of your network? Who are the people in your network? Are these individuals with a shared passion who are the individuals? Are there individuals with a shared passion that can help you attain your goals? Meaning, based on what I've identified as my goals, are there people in my contact list or within my network that can help me achieve those goals? Those are the people that I need to spend time working towards to build that relationship. What is your relationship with these individuals? Is it thriving? Have I spoken to them in the last 5 years? Do I have a cadence where I reach out to them on a regular basis? I don't talk to them until our paths cross each other. What is your relationship with these individuals? So be clear as to what your goals are for the next 1 to 3 years. If you don't have any, here's a good time to set them. Who are the people in your network? Are there individuals within that network that share common passion and will help you attain your goals? What is your relationship with these individuals like? Is it healthy? Does it need help? Number two, review the quantity. Is the relationship mutual? Okay, meaning when I say mutual, meaning do I see this person the way does this person see me the way I see them? I'm giving, am I just a giver? Is this person a peer? Is this person a mentor? Is this person a protege? Where do they fall? Where do they fall within the sources of my network? Is there enough bench strength in your network? What this means is, are there enough people within my network that will get me to where I want to be 1 to 3 years from now? If there aren't, then maybe it is time for me to start thinking about ways to improve my network. Because ultimately, your network determines your net worth, because it impacts your relationships, it impacts your revenue, it impacts your relevance. If you ask some people, what's the most important thing to you? they'll say family. What is family? Relationships. Somebody will be like, oh, my business. What is business? Revenue. To somebody else, they will say knowledge, impact, relevance, whatever it is, influence. That has a lot to do with relevance and knowledge. So networks are the backbone. It doesn't matter if you're in technology or if you're into human capital or if you're into astrology or if you're Christian, pastor, Muslim, whatever it is that you are. Networks play a fundamental role in helping you to become successful. So we will end it at this point. I would hope that each person would take the time to answer these questions and work on this assignment before we get together next week. And when we do get together next week, we can be able to pick up from where we stopped and dive a little bit deeper into some of the conversations that we had today. I will encourage you that if you took notes, spend some time, review those notes, ponder over it, think about them, and come prepared for the next session. Now, I know I planned this whole thing for 75 minutes, and that is just me being very, very optimistic. So what I will do is that if it is okay with everybody on the line, I am going to toss the line open. Now, if you look in the corner, you have the ability to raise your hands, or if you want to ask a question, but I would like this to be in some kind of order. So if you want to ask a question, you can put it in the chat, and I will try to respond to your question if much as I can. If not, if you want to jump in and ask your question, please feel free to do so. So we'll just take questions for the next 5 minutes and we are out of here. All right, so I'll try to answer as many questions as I can in the next 5 minutes. So if you need to ask a question, lines are open.
Okay, can I go ahead? This is Joma.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Introduce yourself and ask your question.
Okay, my name is Ijomo Kolo. The question I want to ask really is, concerning how to, assess mentors that would benefit your goal. How do you get to mentors who can benefit your specific goals?
Well, first of all, thank you, Joma. First of all, you need to be clear as to what your goals are. Then you have to identify individuals who are already operating within that space and be deliberate about trying to reach them. For instance, you can contact them and ask for 10 minutes of their time to say, hey, I would like to meet with you for about 10 minutes. I want to share something about my vision, about you, about mentoring. Write them a letter or whatever it is that needs to be done. And then an email a lot of times will work, but oftentimes, no. Try to see if you can find 10 minutes of their time, get to the point, tell them why you want them to be your mentor, explain to them why you believe they're the right fit. And a lot of times, like I said, if it is something that they're passionate about, they'll be able to get you lined up and you'll be successful in that. Okay, I hope that helps. But again, if that doesn't give you the clearance you need, we can talk a little bit more about this offline. I'm